بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كل يوم وزيدون أحمد جوهر. Today we have a special subject which is the immune system. Immunology, part 1. The immune system is not that simple subject which can anybody read it by paper and through paper. No, it's so complicated. It contributed many cells and tissues and even proteins like immunoglobulins. Now, first, just tissues is like the lymph tissue and the organs. Organs just like lymphoid, lymph nodes, and even spleen. These are special organs for the immune system. And another thing, even cells, which T cells, B cells, and lymphocytes, neutrophils, and eosinophils, many cells. We'll know about all of them later. We have also protein and molecules, like protein antibodies, immunoglobulins, all these things. Now we have first, what is the mechanism, or what's the role of this immune system in our body? Now the immune system is first defense against the microbes, the invasive creatures. Now the other thing is just prevent against our own cells, where they have been turned into tumor cells or malignant cells. Now third is homeostasis, just like maintaining our pH or our normal cells in normal position and normal conditions. Now the fourth is the destruction of the dead cells like red blood cells and white blood cells. Now, just simply have some few points about the immune system. Now, the vaccine. What is vaccine? It's just invented by Gina. The first vaccine was for smallpox. Now, this man noticed that the milkmaiders that had contracted cowpox, did not get smallpox. So from that time till now, it's called vaccine. What is vaccine? The vacca in Latin mean cow in English. And many Nobel Prizes have been given to the immunologists. And we have two types of immunity. The innate immunity, which is the first and second line of defense of our body. Like you see on this simple diagram I've made for you. And we have the relays, which is before infection. It's so important, it's before infection. Then we have the adaptive system, which is the third line of defense of our body, which contributes many cells, T cells, B cells, and natural killer cells, which is mainly have been actions after what we call the infection. We have some note, just notice this thing, that the macrophage have a tool in the innate immunity and then the acquired immunity. In the innate immunity, it's phagocytosis, and then in adaptive immunity, just presenting the antigen to the T cells and B cells in the lymph nodes. Now we have what are the differences between the innate immunity and the adaptive immunity. Now the innate immunity just acts at once, at the time of infection, time of injury. Can be more specific. It is not antigenic specific. No, just like a soldier may kill any one of the enemy, but the adaptive system is just like that good soldier that only kill what we call it the presidents, or that we call it the important persons on the enemy's line. So this is differences between them. This is specific, but the adaptive is specific, but the innate is not specific. Just kill anyone, just like flying, or just airplane that drop bombs into the cities that kill anyone. So it's not possessing immunological memory. So just kill anyone without specificity. Now the adaptive system, on the other hand, is just specific product system that can kill only the antigen on the surface. It can recognize the antigen by the receptors. It's long-lived memory. It's long-lived memory, like T cell, T memory cell, and B memory cell also. Now it just comes a little bit late. Now we have another special subject. It's the origin of the immune cells. There's many origins actually. We have two types of cells of the immune system: the myeloid cells and the lymphoid cells. Now the myeloid cells contain many tributaries like neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, and macrophage and dendritic cells. On the other hand, we have the lymphoid cells, which are the B cells, T cells, and natural killer cells. Now many organs and tissues have contributed from these These special immune cells with thymus, tonsils, lymph nodes, lymph tissue, bone marrow, and appendix and parabatches. All this beautiful picture about the origin of these things. Now, just someone will ask why we get infection. Well, we get disease if we have a good immune system. The answer is so simple. If the balls of infection is high, like someone drinking a glass of bacteria, that one is crazy. And if the virulence of the invasive the organism, like your not all the bacteria are weak. The bacteria are so strong, like tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Or when the immune system is compromised, like when the man taking steroid drugs. Now we have many disadvantage of this system, like hypersensitivity, just autoimmune, just like this. Now we have differences between species in the immune system. Now species differences immunity, like man don't get the planet disease or animal diseases. And the race immunity, like people in Africa don't get have resistance to plasmodium, falciparum, malaria, and the sickle cell anemia don't get malaria, this community of sickle cell anemia. Now without that we have individual immunity, which is twins homozygous twins exhibit similar resistance. Now come to innate. First thing to discuss here is the innate immunity. Now the innate immunity have anatomical barrier, a humoral barrier, and cellular barrier. We will talk about each one. Just first defense is anatomical barrier. What is anatomical barrier? Two types, the mechanical and chemical. Now the mechanical is the skin. This is the skin, which is divided into two parts, the epidermis and the dermis. Now the epidermis, this contain layers, contain Langerhans cells and dead cells, keratin, waterproof, and the dermis, which is just connective tissue. And this picture is so beautiful about the skin. Now what's this is protective against many invasive microorganisms. Now just a special type of parasite. This is hookworms. This is a hookworms parasite. Can penetrate the skin actually, and dermatophic skin-loving fungi, like in the food that bad smell in your food when you just take your shoes off. Okay, we have mucous membrane. Ask me what this man do. This man tried to protect himself by covering all these mucous membrane opening organs. Now the mucous membrane is covering many organs in our body: GIT system, respiratory system, even the auditory tube, many parts, and the internal part of our body is all covered by mucus. Now mucus is penetratable. Unfortunately, it's penetratable. No substitute mucus for just moisture. Now what? Many microorganisms can penetrate the mucous membranes, like papillomavirus, Treponema pallidum, Entamoeba histolotica. We have taken this about the past parts. Now we have the other anatomical, which is the lacrimal secretion. We know what's lacrimals: tears, saliva, which is the mouth, and the mucus and the internal organ, GIT, respiratory tract. Now the nose air, and the nose, so protective against the particles. Now we have ciliary and the cilia, and the lower respiratory tract, which take up the dust, the upward, 1/3 centimeters per hour. I think 1 to 3 centimeters per hour. We have a coughing and sneezing. Someone coughing bacteria, and the viral infections also spreading. This is have disadvantage, many disadvantages here. Now epiglottic is important to protect our respiratory tract. Urination, which protect our genital system and the urinary system, and vaginal secretion in the women special. Okay. Now we have the chemical defenses. What is chemical defenses? The sebum. Sebum is a secretion, oily secretion in our surface, on the surface of our skin. It's a fatty acid which prevent the growth of bacteria and microorganisms and fungi. The pH, low pH of the skin, 3 to 5, cause lactic acid and fatty acid. Again, the same rule of the sebum. Now the perspiration produced by sweat gland, which is contain lysosome and acids, and the same again come to sebum, same mechanism. All the lysosome break down all gram-positive bacteria or cell wall, not only bacteria or other things. Okay, Then the gastric juice, it's from the stomach, which is 1 to 3 pH, kills many microbes and destroy most of toxins. But there's just one uh, hateable bacteria, which is Helicobacter pylori. This thing has caused the neutralize the acidity of the stomach that would cause many problems to us, and can cause a disease called gastritis. Now, transferrin is another chemical defenses. Like it's uptaking of actually its job is to uptake of ferrous, it's an iron. Now, this iron is special for some bacteria to growth and reproduce, so it makes it not available for you. Okay, biological defenses like flora, bacteria, and our bodies, like flora found in the intestine and even in the skin, and even in the nose, many things that compete with the invaders that can cause diseases. Special point: we have a humoral barrier to infection. What is the humoral barrier? Because after infectious agent have penetrated the tissue, penetrate the skin, all these lines, if they have been passed, they will come to humoral. What is humoral? The complement system. We will talk about it later. But just as a result of complement system, which will cause lysis and opsonization. Now the coagulative system, increased vascular permeability, and this coagulative system also have another mechanism, so it's protect blood from being lost in a very fast time. We will die in every injury we take it. And the other thing, the interferons is a part belong to glycoproteins, which known as cytokines, which belong to chemical mediators. I will make a whole video about this thing. It's so important. Interferons is more useful than antibodies. You must put that in your mind, because it preserves a cellular response, not just antibodies. These complicated things. You have lysozyme also from humoral. Okay, in the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, and sweat, and urine. Now, interleukin-1, which induces fever, also this is a chemical mediator. We'll talk about it later. Now, the cellular barriers, which are the macrophage and the natural killer cell and the eosinophil. I'll make a whole video later. Thank you for listening. Meet you in another videos.